Whoa, I did all that talking and the mic was muted. That's crazy work. All right. All right. So, hey, welcome to the channel. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm Marcus. Here we do attorney reactions to current events, trending topics. I'll have to fix that on the replay for the replay gang. It was like, I don't know. That's crazy. I talked for, I don't know, like 30 seconds and I don't know. I'll fix that. In any event, I'm Marcus. Here we do attorney reactions to current events, trending news, or topics that you all hit me up and are interested in. I've been an attorney for 16 years, done a lot of things: defense, prosecution, investigations, civil, everything, not everything, but a lot of stuff. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to give you the story, and then we are going to talk about some legal points of discussion as it relates to each story. We got 4 stories we're going to cover today, so let's go ahead and dive on in. The first story is an interesting story because it's something we talked about on the channel before. It's about squatters. I dislike squatters. I loathe squatters. I pray that I never have a squatter situation, almost did, that I don't have to deal with, because I can't guarantee that I'm going to fundamentally rely on the justice system to resolve it, because the laws with squatter rights are terrible. In some states, allow squatters to have too much control. I've even seen homeowners get arrested and get charges for changing locks. It's all dumb stuff. So let's go ahead. We're going to go to Baltimore for this first story. We're going to talk about a squatter who was removed from the home, I believe was arrested. Let's see what they did when they got out of custody. What do y'all think they did? I can guarantee you one thing. It definitely wasn't something smart. Let's go and see what this squatter did once they got out. We're going to take a trip up the road to Baltimore. Let's dive in.
I only see in the TV, not in the real life. I'm actually experiencing in my neighborhood.
You can't be doing regular people.
Are we back at it again?
Unfortunately, yes. Less than 2 weeks of being incarcerated, Tamika Good is back in the house.
For months, we've been tracking the alleged squatter takeover of a $2.3 million Bethesda home that's been foreclosed and bank-owned. Occupants Tamika Good and her partner Corey Pollard have been at the center of the alleged occupancy.
Get out my face.
Ma'am, why are you in a $2.5 million property?
This is ridiculous. They get incarcerated over this, get out and go back into the home to try to retake possession, exercising squatter rights. I mean, at some point, somebody should probably get their ass whipped. I'm not condoning violence, but I wouldn't be shocked if someone rose to that level. Here, probably one of the reasons that an ass whipping is not ensuing is likely because it's a bank-owned property. If this was an actual individual who like inherited this property from their mother or something like that, it would probably be a much higher probability of ass whippings being given out. So, property rights versus criminal justice policy. Why is this allowed to happen is ridiculous.
After months of delays, Good was convicted on all counts on January 22nd, sentenced to 90 days in prison. Pollard continues to face extradition for multiple vehicle theft-related crimes in Pennsylvania. 11 days later, Good was released on appeal on February 2nd after posting a $5,000 cash bond. Activities at the house started again soon after her release. For days, a woman wearing similar shoes and green pants was seen moving in and out of the alleged Bethesda squatter home. We spoke with Alex Webster about his client.
Look, there's a question. It's really the number one question on everybody's mind. How would your client, Ms. Tamika Good, get inside a $2.3 million property?
Cut. I don't know if I can answer that.
What the fuck, bruh? Hey, no shade to anybody's attorney, but I don't know why he would even actually do this interview. The dude looked hella young. Hey, shout out to him. He looked like he's relatively young, but I have no clue why he would do this interview and not have. As an attorney, the first rule is you should know the answer to most of the questions that you are going to ask and or be asked. So that was actually pretty ridiculous. Let's rewind that back. So this lady gets out of custody, starts squatting, in the same property that she was previously a squatter in. She has a whole bunch of other criminal theft, vehicle related matters in Delaware. And now she's back into the home that she was ousted from.
And Green Pants was seen moving in and out of the alleged Bethesda squatter home. We spoke with Alex Webster about his client.
Look, there's a question. It's really the number one question on everybody's mind. How would your client, Ms. Tamika Good, get inside a $2.3 million property?
Cut. I don't know if I can answer that.
This is bruh. You do not do interviews to put yourself on the news because it makes you look unprofessional, unprepared, and shows an extreme lack of experience.
Allegedly. Can I cut?
We're
rolling.
We're rolling, my friend. Yeah.
All right, can you re-ask the question?
Sure, absolutely. So the number one question on everybody's mind is how your client, Ms. Tamika Good, got into a $2.3 million property.
Well,
Hold
Ms.
up.
Good did her research.
My bad. We
She
got
found
to
out
wind that
a
back.
certain
I'm sorry. Let's rewind this back.
cut.
Good. Get inside.
Please.
Again, this is the squatter's attorney who, for what reason, I don't know why the hell he did this interview, but let's go ahead watch this interview so y'all can see what I'm laughing at. And it's ridiculous. Do not do interviews. Cases are won in the courtroom and at the negotiation table, not on the television, for the most part. Not always true, but for the most part.
For days, a woman wearing similar shoes and green pants was seen moving in and out of the alleged Bethesda squatter
This
home.
is ridiculous.
We spoke with Alex Webster about his client.
Look, there's a question. It's really the number one question on everybody's mind. How would your client, Ms. Tamika Good, get inside a $2.3 million property?
Cut. I don't know if I can answer that. Allegedly. Can I cut?
We're
rolling.
We're rolling, my friend. Yeah.
All right, can you re-ask the question?
Sure, absolutely. So the number one question on everybody's mind is how your client, Ms. Tamika Good, got into a $2.3 million property.
Well, Ms. Good did her research. She found out that a certain property was under the control of a certain group, and that there was a title issue. Due to the title issue, she was able to assume the property under squatters' rights.
So in Maryland, there isn't a particular squatter right. Am I missing something?
Well, it's not a particular squatter's right, but it's known as squatter rights.
Meanwhile, back at the Bethesda property,
this is ridiculous. Attorneys, people, do not do interviews when there's some crazy shit going on. I actually looked this gentleman up, and shout out to him because he's in a tough position. But I did look him up, Alex Webster Esquire. Like I said, he looked young. So this is going to be a learning experience for this brother. Even though it was funny, a Howard Law graduate, went to an HBCU, former Montgomery County State's Attorney's Office, Assistant State Attorney, and a law fellow. He graduated in 2023. So really, really new to the game. 1 year and 7 months as a state attorney. That's not a lot of time there. He probably should have just stayed there and honed that craft for probably about 3 years, honestly. But no shade to the brother, but that interview went terribly wrong and was not favorable for his client nor himself.
Neighbors here of the $2.3 million Bethesda squatter home have placed no trespassing signs after the alleged squatter, Tamika Good, has gained access to the house. We're going to try to make contact once again.
Trekking through ice and snow, we came upon the same door that security cameras captured occupants entering and leaving. Now the door has a no trespassing sign inside its window. After knocking on the door and falling, we proceeded to the front door to knock as well. Not an answer from the alleged squatters.
So everybody who lives here works so hard for their life. They earn their living.
Me lives nearby the alleged squatter house. She asked us to hide her identity over safety concerns.
She was sentenced to 90 days in prison, and she was just released, and she's back in the house. What do you make of that?
I think that there is the lack of a law.
We asked Ian Chen, age 19, how the almost year-long battle started. He filed charges that led to Good's 90-day sentencing.
When you first called the police living next to a squatter, what did they do?
Nothing. Really. They just knocked on the door, and when there was no answer, they just got back in their cars and left.
We pressed Montgomery County Police on why Good and other squatters remain. The spokesperson replied saying the squatters have been in the house for more than 30 days, so they have gained residency status.
Why does this matter to you?
Because it's the right thing to do. I mean, my parents always taught me that you should work hard, pay your bills, and try to make a good life for yourself.
Why should this be a crime?
Because it's wrong. Because a family who's looking to buy this house is without a home because they didn't earn this house. They didn't work for it. They just came and they took what wasn't theirs.
We will continue to.
I disagree. They're in the process of trying to earn the house because let's just keep it a buck. Maryland has terrible laws that allow squatters to establish rights after assuming possession of a home, and they are behind. We've seen, I think, Atlanta, Florida, I think, was first. Then I think Georgia, New York have all changed their laws to be able to get squatters the hell up out of there. But before we pivot to the next story, we got to watch it one more time. This was the greatest. This was an interesting interview done by her attorney. He tried to clean it up at the end, but this is why you don't do interviews on behalf of your client. I wonder, I'm assuming because in order to do an interview to talk about a person's case, this is his client, he actually would have to get informed consent from the client. So I'm actually shocked that he's doing this interview and this client gave informed consent. This lady who got locked up for squatting, who got locked up, got out and went back to the same house she was squatting in, doesn't seem like someone who would give informed consent. But shout out to her attorney, Alex Webster. He's a young guy trying to learn the ropes. But generally, you don't want to do interviews associated with anything related to your client for something like this. It just has no value. And I think it was bad for the client and him as well. Let's check this out one more time. Then we're going to go to the next story.
In and out of the alleged Bethesda squatter home, we spoke with Alex Webster about his client.
Look, there's a question. It's really the number one question on everybody's mind. How would your client, Ms. Tamika Good, get inside a $2.3 million property?
Cut. I don't know. I can answer that. Allegedly. Can I?
We're
Rolling.
We're rolling, my friend. Yeah.
All right, can you re-ask the question?
Sure, absolutely. So the number one question on everybody's mind is how your client, Ms. Tamika Good, got into
Jesus
a
Christ.
$2.3 million property.
Well, Ms. Good did her research. She found out that a certain property was under the control of a certain group.
Oh, man.
And that there was a title issue. Due to the title issue, she was able to assume the property under squatters' rights.
So in Maryland, there isn't a particular squatter right. Am I missing something?
Well, it's not a particular squatter's right, but it's known as squatter rights.
All right. So Long story short, Miss Good is she want that 1.2, 2.1, whatever $1 million home it is. Just a few key takeaways from here is one, it the fact that the home is bank owned is she's probably not going to go anywhere. A bank is more likely than not going to try to go about things the legal route, which is going to take a lot of time, money, and effort. If this was an individual's home who they inherited, or I don't know, was just somehow they were out of town or something, it probably would be ass whippings going on right here. But one of the big thing is enforcement versus deterrent. We have to consider whether existing penalties for squatting act as a deterrent, and if law enforcement has the tools and support needed to prevent reoffending. The answer here is clearly no. She was able to make bond, paid a $5,000 bond, and went back into this home. So God bless the bank. They're gonna have a tough time trying to sell it because that sister is not going to be going absolutely anywhere. So let's go ahead, check out the next story. What we going to pivot to next? Our next story is interesting. Now we're going to come. We just was in Baltimore talking about some squatter rights. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Prince George's County executive and her excessive spending. Most municipalities are in debt. Most states, hell, cities, local municipalities are in the red. There were excess of COVID-19 funds that they were getting from the federal government because they were printing out money, and everybody was living high on the hog. And now that money's dried up, municipalities are like, oh shit, our coffers are empty. We don't have any funds. So with that being said, how you spend as a representative of constituents is very important. So let's check this out. More importantly, let's check out how this individual tried to defend this egregious, ridiculous purchase. Let's go ahead and dive in.
Why did you make the decision to put everybody in a hotel?
So we had to have an emergency operations center with senior leadership because there were a lot of decisions that had to be made in real time. We worked with our public safety director, and this seemed to be the best way to put everyone together because our county administration building was actually closed. There was an electrical fire the previous week, so the building wasn't scheduled to reopen until Monday.
Why not use the Emergency Operations Center?
So the Emergency Operations Center already has folks who are assigned there, and there simply wasn't enough room for everyone there.
All right. So during the pandemic, what this county executive did was house her staff in a hotel to the cost of $43,000. Prince George's County executive Aisha Braveboy faced criticism for the $43,000 spent on the hotel accommodations for county officials during a winter storm. This decision was made after invoices showed taxpayers covered more than $43,000 for the 3-night stay at the hotel at the University of Maryland. The decision has drawn significant attention and scrutiny, and it raises concerns about the use of taxpayers' funds for non-essential expenses. So now she's on here babbling about why we couldn't use this or that. $43,000. I was in the storm just like everybody else. Y'all had ample time. Everybody knew the shit was coming. Y'all had ample time to be in a place that wouldn't cost taxpayers $43,000 fucking dollars. And more importantly, y'all should have the ability to be able to do things virtually through Teams or Zoom or whatever the hell. So this is actually kind of ridiculous. Here, I guess the distinction and the 3 takeaways that you really want to take from this. The 3 takeaways that you really want to take from this is the use of public funds and ethical use standards and accountability. Then you're also looking at open meetings and transparency laws. A lot of times when purchases and expenses are made, they have to be disclosed to the public. And you also got to look at potential conflict of interest. Just think about it. Maryland Public Information Act and any relevant transparency requirements that could have potentially governed reporting the travel and lodging. It got found out immediately. I just, in this day and age, in this climate, as an elected official, an appointed official, you have to be cognizant of how you spend taxpayer resources, because people just aren't having it. The county, I'm sure they have shit that they can't afford to do, and $43,000 for a hotel stay for county staff members is just egregious for 3 damn days when everybody and their mother knew that this storm was coming. We knew what, 3-4 days in advance that it was going to come through and whip everybody ass. So this is actually ridiculous. I mean, personally, this is when you misuse money from the taxpayers, I think you need to get the fuck out of there. I don't care if you do any other thing. If you get caught smoking weed, if you get caught doing a clap session, all of that is less important to me than the misuse of taxpayer money, because while some things can have an impact and look bad on your public persona, but it's a inside issue. It's a matter that you have to deal with, like what goes on in your household. That's different than utilizing funds terribly that are paid by the taxpayers, is directly related to the job and the responsibility that you have as an executive or an elected official. So $43,000 for 3 nights in a hotel during a storm where we knew was coming is absolutely crazy. And in my opinion, that's some shit that you should probably lose your job for. I mean, I don't know. I think that's an easy story. You should not currently maintain your position if you're engaging in badass financial decisions like that. And then she just looks stupid sitting up here telling this story. Now, this next one is interesting because I want y'all opinion. Y'all let me know, what age were you when you were able, like as a child, to go out and do things on your own? Because it's different now. Like, I know when I was growing up, I legitimately remember waking up Saturday morning, like doing whatever my chores was, eating breakfast, getting in the shower, going outside after wrestling went off at like 1, and literally being outside to like 8-9 o'clock as a child. So I know times are different. Kids don't really go outside like that now. But when it comes to laws about if a child is responsible to like be at home by themselves, you have some states who have strict laws that says, hey, in order for a child to be at home by themselves, they have to be at least age 11. But you have other states that don't give a specific age. They just say it kind of depends on the maturity of the child. So there's a little bit of leverage there. You can have an 11-year-old, 12-year-old who stays at home, who definitely should not be fucking staying at home. But you can have, I've seen it. I've been on public transportation, and I lie to you not, I've seen like a 8-year-old child taking their 4-year-old, 5-year-old little brother or sister to school. And then they get on public transportation after they drop their sister and siblings off and go wherever the fuck they need to go. So there are some kids at young ages who are hella responsible. Let's check this story out on parenting. Y'all let me know, were these parents doing the right thing? Did they do the wrong thing? Y'all let me know what y'all think.
Investigating a report of child abuse. Interviewing Mallory and Chris's 2 knew well.
My husband and I both work from home, and we're like, hey, enjoy, go have fun.
Parents Mallory and Chris letting their 6-year-old scooter alone to the park on a day off from school, knowing he had friends and parents to meet there.
Now, I'm going to just tell y'all right now, I'm letting them, I don't give a fuck. I'm not letting my 6-year-old go outside and go 4 blocks down, 3 blocks down to the park by themselves. I mean, like, I used to be a defense attorney. I'm a lawyer. People are fucking evil. That's one. But 2, I'm just not doing it. 6 is too young for me to let you go multiple blocks to get to the playground by yourself. A 6-year-old could be snatched up instantly just like that. So as soon as I see this story off the break, I'm not feeling the whole decision. Mom and dad, I think y'all both work at home. Why the fuck y'all didn't just walk down there? Like literally, it's 4 blocks. Why didn't y'all walk down there with them, drop them off with the neighbors, adults who were down there, and y'all be like, okay, we'll come back in 30 minutes to pick them up. There's a gazillion ways that this could have been done. Is it a crime? But I'm not a fan of letting your 6-year-old go out and go multiple blocks to a playground alone.
It was a smooth 3 blocks there on Atlanta's Beltline, a busy recreational trail. But the ride home would change everything.
He said, well, I was on my way home and a lady pulled her car in front of my scooter and started asking me all kinds of questions. She said, who are you? You know, what's your name? Where do you live? Are you allowed to be out here? Where are your parents?
2 days later.
Okay, and I'm gonna go as far as to say I don't think that the lady who asked those questions was being a nosy ass person. I think that she was doing what she should do. I've been at the playground when my kids were little playing, and it would just be like a kid out there who was mad little with no adult. I'd be like, who? And I can remember specifically being like looking around, like, who fucking kid is this out here? The parents, they way off over there, not paying attention at all. So I think that was I don't think that was a nosy neighbor. I think that was a concerned neighbor. And I think that they were rightfully concerned. And I think what they did was fair.
A problem with letting him go?
Are you allowed to be out here? Where are your parents?
2 days later.
Is there a problem with letting him go to the playground?
The knock on the door that would upset their lives.
He would have to be like 13 for him to be like
13?
Like 12, 13. For him to be like, okay, he can go completely by himself.
Is that the law, or is that like a...
I mean, they're going to consider that inadequate supervision as 7.
The Fulton County Division of Family and Children Services investigating a report of child abuse, interviewing Mallory and Chris's 2 kids, asking about drug abuse, malnutrition, and whether they were loved, the family says, ultimately finding that allegations of neglect were substantiated.
It was devastating, incredibly violating.
They said the allegations were substantiated, so clearly they found something there. I don't know. Like, I think y'all are 2 grown ass adults. I'm gonna just be honest. Like, yo, no shade to y'all, but I think that was dumb as hell. I just can't see letting my 6-year-old go 3 blocks like by themselves to get to the playground when you and your husband are working from home and it's 3 fucking blocks. Y'all couldn't take a 15-minute break and walk them down there, drop them off with the neighbor parents that you all knew who were at the park, and then bring your ass back and come back and get them. Like, I don't know. I think that was I don't necessarily know if it's neglect per se, but I can see how one can get to that assumption. Typically, you know, break down how neglect is legally defined in that jurisdiction, what elements must be proven. Essentially, it's a standard of care. Most states, and states vary, but most states say a standard of care that could put a child into harm or a reasonable expectation that some harm could occur. But most states for neglect under state laws has a flexible definition that gives a little bit of wiggle room. Reasonable parent standard analyze legal precedent around what a reasonable parent would allow and how courts and CPS weigh community norms versus statutory language. In this neighborhood, is it a quiet neighborhood? Are there a lot of persons home during the day? What is the relationship with these parents and the neighbors? That's all of the things that'll go into this type of analysis for these type of cases. And, you know, child welfare investigations always typically start with a complaint. Someone sees a bruise. Some third party who's not in the household sees something and reports it. That's exactly how this started. And I think the person who reported it was actually probably doing the right thing, considering they seen a 6-year-old just by themselves. That's my thought. I don't know. Y'all let me know if y'all let y'all 6-year-olds out to go 3 blocks by themselves. But to me, that shit seemed a little crazy.
It's been probably the most stressful experience of my adult life. I'm constantly worried that we're being watched.
Some parent advocates say their case is a warning for families and the kind of overreach that Georgia's new Reasonable Childhood Independence Law is meant to avoid. The 2025 law tailors the definitions of neglect and abandonment to create more freedom for parents to let their kids go out alone.
Parents don't want to have to second guess their every decision when they're going to take their eyes off their kids. We're going to let their kid walk to school, play outside, stay home alone for a brief moment. And with this law, they know it's up to them.
After an administrative review at the request of the family and their attorney, the state called Mallory and Chris to tell them their finding of neglect was reversed. But the pain remains, and they hope the state and other families can learn from this.
I see both sides of it. You know, it depends on your neighborhood, how comfortable you are. But I've seen ill shit happen in the best of neighborhoods. For me, I'm not fucking doing it. I'm not letting my 6-year-old go out and go 3 fucking blocks by themselves. Like, even I can remember when my kids was little, like, I'd be like, yo, y'all walk the dog. And I would stand on the porch and I would watch them so I could still see them. Plus, they was walking a big ass pit bull who, trust me, I was not worried about nobody. That dog was crazy. He'd eat a motherfucker up. So, but they were still within eyesight. I could actually see them. So I'm not a fan of that. You all let me know what you think. I think parents do have the right to have some discretion, and when they can decide their child is responsible enough to do things and have certain level of independence. But a 6-year-old going 3 blocks by themselves when y'all at home, I'm not fucking doing it. That's just me. Yeah, maybe y'all would be comfortable with it, but it's definitely something that DFD, nah, you under my protection, that shit is not happening. Now, this last story we're going to talk about is about a school teacher who lived a double life. Reading, writing, arithmetic by day, gang banging, sea walking, all of that stuff by night. This is actually a crazy story, but it's really not crazy. I mean, a lot of times goons need to have some type of income. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and dive in and watch the story, and then we're going to talk about it because I'm kind of confused. I'd like to know what the process was for the background check in this story, but let's go ahead, check it out. Teacher by day, goon by night. Let's dive in.
Teacher is convicted in the gang murder of 2 children. Clayton County prosecutors are telling us how they used video and other evidence to win that conviction.
A teacher convicted of a gang murder. This is actually insane. When somebody sent me this, I was like, what the fuck happened? I was kind of confused. He was an accessory during the fact, not the actual trigger man, the accessory during the fact. We talked about this before. You could be an accessory before, during, and after the fact. And an accessory during the fact gets charged the same as the principal. The principal would be the gunman. So that's what's going on here, just so we got some context.
In the gang murder of 2 children, Clayton County prosecutors are telling us how they used video and other evidence to win that conviction. Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie obtained some of that video.
Michael White, about 9 days before the murders on Libby Lane, inside of the Rolling 20 Crips headquarters in DeKalb County.
There were tears being shed when the first guilty was texted to us.
What we're looking at is Michael White right here in the middle with other gang members.
Michael White led a double life. Teacher of 5th grade children at Tony Elementary in DeKalb County and hardcore Rolling 20s Crips gang member. And that led him into a double murder of 2 children, 11-year-old Tatiana Coates and her 15-year-old brother Davion on Libby Lane in Jonesboro, October 22nd, 2016.
Man, this commentator voice is the worst.
Say Clayton County Deputy Chief Assistant District Attorney Lakarian Blunt.
He was kicking in doors. at night and killing children and going and teaching children in the morning.
And Assistant DA Sheila Francois.
2 innocent lives were lost.
They had nothing to do with gang activity.
They had nothing to do with gang activity.
Prosecutors Blunt and Francois say Monday a Clayton County jury convicted White of 44 counts, including murder and gang charges.
Evidence suggested ultimately someone else was the trigger man,
Yes, 2 people.
but he's just as guilty under the law.
Just as guilty. Party to a crime. Once he kicked in that door and ran in that house with a shotgun in his hand, he's guilty as every last other person in that house.
Ms. Blunt says Tatiana and Davion's mom had taken in another family out of the goodness of her heart, but a teen in the family she took in was a Rolling 20s Crip and had stolen guns from the gangs to Cab County headquarters. And that's what brought White and other gang members to the house.
That's fucking sad. Those kids ain't have nothing to do with it, but the mother took in another kid who was in a gang and allegedly stole some firearms, and it led to this. Like, that shit is sad. I'm interested to know what was the school's background process, because a lot of the pictures and videos that they got, it looked like they just took it off of social media. Like, shouldn't that be like, I don't know, they got some wild tools out here that can show like all of your affiliations and possible affiliations and everything. So I don't know what the level of depth of the background investigation that the school did before this hiring occurred, but it's sad. These two had nothing to do with it. They didn't take shit. They weren't gang members. And you got an 11-year-old and a 14-year-old who no longer here because a teacher was gangbanging on the side, or a gangbanger was teaching on the side. That's what a teacher wasn't gangbanging on the side. You had a gangbanger who was teaching on the side, because he probably was gangbanging for way longer than he was actually teaching. Real talk.
Their family out of the goodness of her heart, but a teen in the family she took in was a Rolling 20s Crip and had stolen guns from the gangs to Cab County headquarters. And that's what brought White and other gang members to the house where the 2 children were shot to death. Prosecutor Blunt says she used videos and photos showing White with other gang members to establish White's gang membership for the jury, along with a gang roster with White's handwritten name on it. And she and Ms. Francois used witness testimony in the resemblance between a sketch of one of the home invaders and White to put White in the house, though the defense disputed it.
We had 2 co-defendants come and testify.
His lead attorney, Bruce Harvey, said by phone Michael White had successfully embarked on his teaching career after playing college football. Harvey said this case is a tragedy in many respects, but at the trial, the emotion of the situation outran the evidence the state presented. He said several witnesses testified to help themselves, and the defense team will continue to fight the sufficiency of the evidence and what he believes to be an unjustified conviction. Chris Berry told us he's a prosecutor in Fulton County now, but handled the original Michael White indictment in Clayton County.
May take several years, but if you are gangbanging in Georgia, the state of Georgia is going to hold you accountable.
Clayton County DA Tasha Mosley credits Clayton County Police with a great investigation, but says society is losing the gang war.
We've got to change as society.
That's absolutely crazy. This dude was teaching math and reading by the day and gangbanging at night. So here's some of the quick key takeaways that we talked about. We talked about accessory before, during, and after the fact. This gentleman was accessory during the fact, so he's charged the same as the principal. The principal is the person who's the actual gunman. Next thing is background checks. What are the legal requirements and the level of depth that the school is going to do these background checks? Because there are software and things out there where you can look up and find people's affiliations, groups, organizations who they hang out with. So how deep did they go into his background? A lot of the videos where it showed him gangbanging and looking tough appeared to have come from social media. And the last thing is, I don't know. That's sad. We see so much going on with teacher. You see a lot of assaults going on, but now they like running up in kids' houses, bro. That's crazy too, because he looked like when you're in the streets, like if you 27 in the streets, you like an OG, because most cats in the streets are super young. So like this dude, who I'm assuming is probably an OG in a criminal organization, is out here running up in people's house with shotguns. This is actually sad. I'm also interested to know, how was he as a teacher? Like, what was his performance? Did he perform above average, at the average, below the average? That'll be interesting to see. I think it's completely irrelevant for what the allegations and charges are here. They're going to be looking to overturn that conviction, but it's just a mess. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'm about to jump off here because it's late. Is 12:30. Happy Valentine's Day for those of you who celebrate it. I don't. Show your loved ones you love them as often as you can. Don't just wait on the 14th. Y'all have a good one. Be blessed. Be safe. Peace.